Hello and welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew and we have something to talk about. I cannot, I can't, I no longer can I make excuses for Xbox or PlayStation when it comes to these next gen consoles. They told us we were going to get a 4K 60 experience. That's what they sold us. I mean, yeah, now I get what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. And you know what, man? They told us 4K 60. We're not getting 4K 60 on a lot of stuff. I mean, look at Wild Hearts, man. Wild Hearts comes out. I'm running it on my 3080 5800X, and that is giving me 1440p 80 frames a second. 1440p native maxed out settings, all of that. There's no DLSS with that game. There's no other settings in there. I'm running that at native 1440p with about 80 frames a second. If I do 4K, then it goes anywhere from 45, and it still goes up there over to like 70 frames or whatever. But I mean, that's a $2,500 PC to get 4K at 45 frames a second. $2,500. They sold us these consoles telling us that they were going to give us 4K 60. Now, I don't want to freak out too much because if you go back to last generation and you look at like the first time I saw a convincing image on my 4K screen was when I got my Xbox One X and I got Assassin's Creed Origins on that. Like that looked great. And now I mean it looks better on the Xbox Series S. I meant the Xbox Series X because it has been updated for that to give us 60 frames a second. And now we're being able to utilize the power of the Series X and the PlayStation 5 even to push those resolutions even higher and, give us more of the detail that we were losing. Well, that's the thing, man. If we were playing last gen games, yeah, these new consoles can give us 4K at 60 frames a second. But if you go back and you look at those games, like when I download and I play Assassin's Creed Origins on my PC and I set everything to max at 4K, it looks significantly different. There's a lot more going on than what we were getting. Like we were getting like medium low settings last generation at 4K. This generation, we are getting much higher settings, but we're only getting them at 1080p. Like we're getting some games literally coming out at 1080p at 60 frames a second. And most of us are looking at these games like, well, they're not that good. I mean, like Hogwarts Legacy, what is it, 1440p? It takes I can run it at 4K again, but I have issues if I want to run it at ultra settings on a 3080. Let that sink in for a minute, man. The 3080 is almost 30 teraflops of power. Like this thing is it's not a weak GPU by any means. It's at least double or even triple that of the PlayStation 3 and at least double and then some of an Xbox Series X. And I get what you're saying, well, the PlayStation 5 is outperforming the Xbox Series X and whatever, dude. Developers are optimizing better for the PlayStation 5. Clearly, it's easier for them to develop for, but I'm not going to make excuses for either one of them. I'm not going to make excuses for either one of them. Mark Cerny himself told us we needed 8 teraflops to run 4K. That's what he told us. Now, yeah, we can get 4K 30 all day long out of these consoles. 4K 30 frames a second. But we have been spoiled this last two years with all these cross-gen games. Like we've literally been spoiled with what we've gotten. We've gotten a lot of them older games, kind of upgraded. They're running at 60 frames a second. A lot of us are getting used to that. And now to maintain that, now you're trying to tell me that I got to play games at 1080p on my 4K screen. I know a lot of you guys are feeling the same way. And I'm trying, dude. I have tried so hard to just be positive about this stuff, I even bought a monitor so that I could play this stuff and not worry about it. But that's not fair of me to be like, yeah, man, these games look great on my monitor, and you're sitting there with your $1,500, OLED freaking TV, and you're like, well, man, it doesn't look good on mine. I get that, man. I get that. I'm not making excuses for these companies anymore. Like I don't even care. The fact that they sold us this stuff and now And now we're going to have to deal with the consistent disappointment of hearing Digital Foundry come out all the time and be like, yeah, man, the PlayStation 5 runs at 55 frames a second. The Xbox Series X goes from 45 to 50. Like, we don't want to hear that stuff. We don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear that. We don't want to hear that our Xbox version is running worse than the PlayStation 5 version. And we don't want to hear that our PlayStation 5 version is running worse than the Xbox Series X version. We want the frame rate to be consistent across the board. And when it comes to PlayStation 5, yeah, we might accept a little bit lower resolution, whatever, because it's got a little bit less, GPU power or whatever. But if it runs parity, like, that's fine. That's perfectly okay. I am just sick and tired of hearing from these little PC freaking elite dudes that you realize they all play PC games. These guys are PC gamers, and they're here taking. I mean, dude, they're standing on the back of you fanboys, and you and you don't even realize that they're like standing on your back. These guys are supporting themselves, standing on your back, telling you that the console you made isn't giving you the experience that you thought it should give you. Because you know what, man, if you didn't have Digital Foundry, you probably wouldn't know the difference between, well, I mean, you would definitely know the difference between 1080p and 4K on your 4K screen, because it would look a little bit blurry. I mean, it would look blurry, obviously, but there's a lot of things that you wouldn't know the difference of, and you wouldn't even care. Like, you literally wouldn't even care if you didn't have those guys sitting there ruining your gaming experience consistently. They consistently ruin your gaming experience, and you guys continue to watch it. You guys keep watching it. And then you get frustrated, you get mad because a game comes out that you want to play, and you're like, oh man, it's going to be 1080p. I don't want to buy that. Or it's going to be 30 frames a second. Man, you bought a console. You bought a console. If we bought consoles, man, yeah, we should definitely be able to expect our 4K 60 frames a second. If the games were still going to look exactly like they did last generation, yeah, we could probably expect that. And I mean, for the most part, whatever, I'm fine with that. It is what it is. Like, it doesn't even matter anymore. These games are starting to look, I've been playing Wild Hearts all day long. Basically all day long. I love that freaking game. Me and Sev, from the community, we've been playing that basically all day long. And I'm looking at that game with all the fine, intricate detail that this game has. And I'm like, wow, this thing is literally freaking beautiful. Like, we're up in this Japanese castle right now, and it's just snowing, like straight freaking blizzard everywhere you go, and it just looks so freaking incredible that I'm just like, wow, dude, I couldn't imagine spending $70 to buy that game on the Xbox or the PlayStation 5 and have it like completely toned down. Like, really? And I have seen it on the Xbox Series X at the 4K mode. It doesn't even come close. It doesn't even come close to what the PC version looks like. It doesn't. Like, it's kind of irritating. Like, I really like that game, and I want people on Xbox and PlayStation to be able to buy that and play that, but I can't recommend you pay $70 freaking dollars for that. Like, no, dude, that's not even close to the experience that I'm getting right now. But yeah, I don't know, man. I thought they were supposed to be building games. Well, you know what, man? I've actually had my mind completely blown this generation since getting the PC. Going back all the way as far as like 360 games and forward, and just seeing just how drastic the changes can be by having it on the PC at max settings. I mean, I would say that right now Wild Hearts is in the 4K resolution mode, and in both modes, I'd say you're you're a little bit higher. I mean, you're about medium settings. You're about medium settings. The grass density from medium to what it looks like, on the PC version, it looks like about medium. There's some empty spots, whereas on the PC version, it's like nice and pretty full in there. And I noticed that immediately. And I was like, wow, man, they really did have to cut some stuff back, and seeing just how it runs on the PC, like, it's poorly optimized, and it's one of those things where, like, man, this just really gets me frustrated, man. And I can't sit here and tell you guys with a straight face anymore that like, yeah, dude, I'm happy to be able to play this game at 1080p, or hey, at least we got 1080p, or 1080p is not so bad. And because I just want you guys to like the games and not worry. I just want you guys to like the games and not worry too much about some of this stuff, because I don't see this generation producing. I don't see this generation producing a solid 4K image with these higher settings for visuals, because these guys are going to use the power to push for visuals. They can push for the visuals, at 1080p or 4K at 30 frames a second, like 1080p to 1440p. They should be able to work something around that. But I mean, like, all this magic they're talking about, like the upscale this and upscale that. Well, I mean, yeah, they can definitely use some of that stuff to upscale whatever, but that only goes so far, man. Like, these visuals are getting a lot more dense, and there's a lot more fidelity in these visuals in a lot of these games, that it's man, it's gonna make it pretty hard, man. It's gonna make it pretty hard, and it is frustrating, and you can't blame me, man, because they've had 2 freaking years, almost. We're over 2 years into this console generation, and they've yet to show us anything that really takes advantage of these consoles that would make us feel like they're gonna get any better. Because yeah, dude, we've seen some pretty good graphics, but they're at 1080p. Or they're not, or they're checkerboard rendered from 1080. You know what I mean? Like, I can't make excuses for Xbox or PlayStation. I can't do it anymore, man. Like, I can't do it anymore. I like these consoles. I think these are the most powerful consoles that we've ever had. But the marketing is so misleading that I don't know what to say about it. I don't know what to say about it anymore. It is so misleading to say you're going to get 4K. Dude, I'm pissed that we go out and buy these 4K TVs knowing that our consoles are not going to deliver that experience. You shouldn't have to rely on a TV to upscale your freaking image, man. You should not have to worry about that when they market these things as 4K consoles. They say it on the box. It says it on the box. 4K 60, 120. It says it's all supported, and for the most part it is supported, but there's just not enough power in either one of these consoles to really push these next gen visuals at 4K. And I mean, you could say that a game like Wild Hearts or Atomic Heart or any of these games that have come out don't look that great. You can say that all you want, but you're lying to yourself. All of these games do look really good. They got really nice visuals, and I don't know, man. I feel like I'm at a point right now where I'm starting to get really frustrated with this. I seriously do recommend a 1440p monitor for your Series X or your PlayStation 5 or your Series S. I do. I do. I cannot recommend that you go out and spend all that money on a 4K TV when you can get every single feature, 120 FPS, VRR, all of that stuff for the low price of like $400. I can't recommend a big TV unless you're okay with that, man. Like, you have to understand that, like, you're gonna have to be okay with that. And it sucks that when you guys hear Digital Foundry come out and be like, yeah, just 1080p or just 792p. They did the same thing with Forspoken, man. Forspoken was a great game, but it got seriously trashed because the PlayStation 5 doesn't have enough power to run that game. My PC does at 1440p. I get a pretty decent experience, over 60 frames a second at 1440p. But the PlayStation 5 couldn't do it, so everybody trashed that game. That really sucks, man. That sucks that that game got trashed because the PlayStation 5 doesn't have enough power. And then when everybody keeps saying, well, the PlayStation 5 is running better than the Xbox Series X, I'm like, well, don't you remember Forspoken? Remember it was 720p at 45 frames a second? According to Digital Foundry, that was what it dropped to. So, yeah, man. And you can't blame Xbox for that one because it's not on Xbox. It's so crazy, man. The argument that goes back and forth on these. I've tried to stay out of it. I've just watched them go back and forth over there on Twitter. I try to stay out of it now, but I just find it so funny that, like, they completely forget about games like the PlayStation guys completely forget about games like freaking Babylon's Fall, or Forspoken, or some of these other games, what's that? Stranger of Paradise. A lot of these Square Enix games that are coming out at literal freaking 1080p ish. I mean, you really think Final Fantasy 16 after seeing Forspoken is going to be? I mean, I think it's running on the same engine. I don't know, but we'll find out. But that's pretty much all I got to say, dude. I'm not going to tread water for these guys no more, man. I'm not going to trash the games, but I'm not going to like sit here and like try to make you guys feel good about your purchase when I'm sitting here playing them on a 1440p monitor, man. Like I feel bad about that. I feel bad. I've had some people, you know, like, "Oh man, like that's crazy. It doesn't look good." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're probably right, dude. If you're on a 4K screen, that's why I'm playing on a 1440p monitor." So I mean, that's why I'm not going to tread water for him anymore. I'm only gonna like I've been testing these games on the 1440p monitor. Every once in a while, I put them on the 4K, but I really see no need to put them on a 4K TV, dude. They just don't look that great. They could be better, but I don't know, man. We'll find out when I get that LG TV. We'll find out if it makes it better, you know. But that sucks that you got to spend like another $1,500 to enjoy your game, man. Might as well buy a PC and a cheap monitor. So, all right, guys, if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. And no, I'm not a PC elitist yet. I promise you. I still love my consoles. I'm not a PC. I'm not a PC master race yet. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Long live Xbox.